host. I am Jake Rouse.
And I'm Talia.
We're happy to have you back this week. This week we are talking about, what are we talking about, Mila?
We are talking about exploring self-love and its importance in relationships.
That's going to be a fun topic. Yeah, self-love is something that we've talked about frequently. Um, we've actually got a couple questions here that I think that we could go over and then go from there. How does that sound?
That's great. Can't wait.
All right. I'll kick us off here. Our first question is, in what ways does a strong sense of self-love impact emotional well-being in a relationship?
Well, I think a strong sense of self-love contributes to emotional well-being by reducing dependency on external validation for happiness, promoting more internally driven contentment. So basically, I think that if you love yourself more, you'll be less jealous. You won't question your love. You won't question their commitment, therefore making it a much better relationship altogether.
Yeah, I think so. I think for me, the ability to love yourself gives you the emotional capacity to understand what your partner needs, what you need from your partner without it being uh, an expectation that leads to like negativity, right? It's like a confidence and an awareness of what it is that you need and sharing that awareness and confidence with your partner.
Agreed. Love it.
The next question we have here is, why is personal growth considered essential in a relationship? And how does self-love play a role in that?
I think personal growth is probably like one of the most important things personally and for a relationship is absolutely vital because it builds a relationship where both partners can grow individually and together. So there's like a healthier dynamic between the two people. And I think like always having some sort of a goal or a motivation to get somewhere and to grow together is kind of like adrenaline that keeps like the fire going a little bit for me, at least. I don't know. Personal growth is huge for me.
Yeah, I mean, not to give too much information away, but from a personal growth perspective, you're the queen of personal growth. Like it is something that is super important to you. It's something that you really strive to be. You're either trying to learn a new certification, or you're trying to get a new skill, or you're trying to start a new hobby or learn something new. I mean, for you, personal growth is always at the top of the list. And for me, I've learned a lot from that. I've grown from watching how much personal growth excites you, and really, have been able to start to focus a little bit more time on growing my own skill sets. And uh, I think that it allows us to be our best selves, but also our best selves for each other.
Yeah. I think a lot of times too, like as mothers, we forget that a little bit because we're trying to focus on the growth of other little individuals. So personal growth is sometimes hindered, but it's all part of the self-love. We just can't forget to learn every single day.
Yeah. I mean, self-love as a rule, I mean, I think it's probably bleeds into the importance of why we're having this conversation, is the one thing that gets pushed aside. And we do it with the intention of, well, my family needs me, or well, I need to focus my intentions on this right now. This is more important. And self-love always kind of gets pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. And you see it. It reflects in our relationships, it reflects in our life. At some point we have to come to the realization that this is just as important as everything else. You just have to learn the best way to balance it, because you do have to make sure it's included. I think we have to get back to that. All right, we've got another question here. How does self-love contribute to constructive conflict resolution in a relationship?
I think it's a great question. So I think that self-love aids in navigating conflicts constructively because it can prevent negative self-talk and encourages a more understanding approach to resolving issues within the relationship.
Yeah, I think, for me, conflict has always been a challenge. I've been fairly anti-conflict, but what I've learned is that conflict is conflict because of the way you perceive it. It's because of the way you're coming into it.
Yeah,
If
100%
you're if
perception.
you're coming into it with a sense of self-love and understanding, and your partner has that same sense of self-love and understanding, it really allows you to go into it with the mindset of this is constructive. I knew this was coming. We knew this was coming. This was a conversation that was going to be had one way or the other. This is a learning experience. This is constructive. Um, so, I like that we say constructive conflict here because I think there is a difference in constructive conflict and destructive conflict.
Mhm.
Um, and constructive conflict can become destructive quickly. So it's important to have enough awareness to know, hey, this is for my personal growth, right? What we just talked about.
Mhm. Wow, yeah, makes sense.
We've got one more question here. In what way does loving yourself build resilience in a relationship?
Oh my gosh, it builds so much resilience in a relationship because it enables the individuals or you to bounce back from challenges in the relationship. So you can keep a positive outlook even during difficult times, like being able to move past the little bits, that little challenges that don't matter because you love yourself enough to have enough confidence to know it isn't you or it isn't something small like that. That I mean, that's what is that? That's probably 80% of you know conflicts that people have now, in relationships. It's little things here and there that add up and then build up and then it's a ticking time bomb. But if you can resolve that by loving yourself and having enough resilience to just like get through some of those challenges, that's half the battle.
Yeah, I think about it this way, especially in regards to like, loving yourself versus not having enough self-love. Because to me, the difference is when you go into conflict and I mean, think about the last conflict you had. It was probably triggered by an insecurity that you have or a past trauma that you have.
Mm.
Yes, your partner may have triggered that, but it was a trigger within you, right? It was within you. Maybe they weren't even aware. So having enough self-love allows you to know, hey, this is a trigger for me, right? And I'm aware of that. So I'm not going to make this a giant conflict for no reason. I'm not going to be destructive. I'm going to be constructive though, because I want to tell my partner, hey, that made me feel this way because of X. And I think that allows you to be far more resilient because again, you're being constructive. And that self-love allowed you to be resilient and do the right thing. Thanks, Annie. So I believe you have the next segment.
Yeah. So the love hack for this month is just a little 3-question self-love checklist. Whether you're in a relationship or not, I think this is good, to ask yourself every once in a while because it's good to do little check-ins. Just like we talked about those energy check-ins with your partner, do those energy check-ins with yourself. Where am I? Where is my love for myself? Can we do better? Where can we do better? How can we improve? So just 3 little simple questions to ask yourself is, are you comfortable spending time with yourself or alone? Can you take yourself out to a movie or to dinner? Are you comfortable being alone? period, in your own, home.
which is so hard for a lot of people. Like
It really is. It's
there are those people that go relationship to relationship, and you can be one of those people. I'm not judging. But it's hard to be alone. And I think that is something that really goes a long way towards self-love, is allowing yourself that time just to be alone, even if it is for a short period of time, really experiencing that and being comfortable with it.
Yeah, being comfortable with it.
Being
Exactly.
comfortable with
Get
it.
in your thoughts. Being okay with being in your mind, thinking what you're thinking alone without having like the satisfaction or the stimulation of somebody else
Yeah.
being there.
And alone can be a 5-minute walk to yourself where you just zone out. It doesn't have to be a long period of time either.
The next question is, how often do you compare yourself to others? So like, are you constantly, saying this person's this more, or this person's this less, or how can I be more like this person? Or, like, are you not okay within your own self? And then do you practice self-care intentionally? So for me, it's at least one thing a day, like giving myself some time to work out or do my, facial regimen or go take a walk or take a bath or like what one thing can I give myself in a day? Am I doing intentional self-care? So I think that those three questions are good to be asking yourself to make sure, that you're best equipped for whatever partner, best equipped for yourself, number one, it's self-love, and two, best equipped to be in a relationship with somebody else, to give yourself to somebody, to love yourself so that you can pour into somebody else's cup. Because if you don't have anything in your cup, you can't pour anything out of it.
Yeah, and those little things that you can do for yourself, I mean, from a self-love definition is endless, right? I mean, everybody's so different. So what self-love for me might be the opposite of self-love for somebody else.
Right.
But that's
For
what's
me,
great
like
about
yours is golf, and you
it.
would
You would
never do
never,
golf.
never. I'm not doing my nightly facial regimen. I'm not. But that's what makes it great. That's what makes self-love really cool, because it's your thing. It's a
Yeah,
thing that you do for yourself, and it keeps you connected to yourself.
right.
And like a facial regimen, even if it takes 15 minutes, that's 15 minutes. It could be 5 minutes, it could be 3 hours. So just having something that represents that self time is important. And I feel like it's something that we do a good job of trying to make sure we always include.
Yeah. Some examples I think too are doing, positive affirmations, just like waking up doing positive affirmations. We do some gratitude, what are the top three things we're grateful for? We do that with the
Kids
kids.
like that one.
Choose to appreciate. So just wake up, choosing to have, we wake up and we say, I'm grateful for our wealth and our health, and do that whole thing every single morning. Turn off your screens so much, especially at night, 2 hours before you go to bed. Use that time, for things you have passion for, your self-love moments, your self-care moments.
Record a podcast.
Kind of crazy those. Uh, get your outside sun, 20 minutes a day will change your life outside in the sun.
Do some grounding.
Do some grounding, get your feet in the ground. Get Reiki, that can absolutely help, because a lot of times self-love comes from chakra blockages, which comes from trauma. So, if you don't love yourself, it could be something as simple as, a few healing sessions that can get you through that.
I'm gonna stand up for the listeners here. I think this is a good learning opportunity. What is Reiki?
Reiki is energy healing. So we have 7 chakras in the body, from the top to your bottom. And those are the energy centers. So what energy healing does is if you ever have a blockage in your chakra, which can come out in emotional, physical symptoms, ailments, diseases, etc. Um, you clear your energy with energy healing, and then that helps relieve the symptoms because you are unblocking the blockages. So therefore healing yourself, we don't, as energy healers, necessarily heal you, we give you the energy to heal yourself. So that's the beauty of it. We're giving you the tools to heal yourself so your body's prepared for anything. But yeah, that's Reiki. And then the last advice, which is like from a personal perspective, the most impactful thing I could potentially tell you for self-love is to take a trip alone. Recently I took a trip to Namaste Beach Club, shout out, love you, in Cartagena, Colombia, where I'm from, or I'm from, I'm Colombian. And I took a trip to Cartagena by myself, and it was the best thing I could have done for myself. It was 5 days of wellness retreat, with Bella Castro, and Elizabeth Campbell. They both hosted a retreat, and it was the most amazing thing, because you have 5 days to yourself on an island and with the most amazing food. And we did yoga, we worked out, we did dancing by the fire, ecstatic dancing, cacao ceremonies. We went to another island. We did so much. Cold plunges, intentional journaling, all of the work that is used to heal trauma, to heal past wounds, to heal generational trauma, to heal ancestral trauma. That is doing the work to make you a better person that bleeds into being a better mom, being a better partner, being a better person, just Samaritan in society. That gave me so much a perspective, so much clarity, so much confidence, so much self-love. I remembered who I was again. I remembered how, fun, I try to be. I remembered the impact that I have on others. I remembered what I love. I remembered my raw beauty. It was just, I would suggest everybody do it. But yeah, so those are the things that I think would be good to do for self-love.
That's a great love hack.
Yeah. And the next episode, what is this, January? February 15th, the day after Valentine's Day.
Uh-oh, Valentine's Day. Since, by the way, since we won't be with you prior to Valentine's Day, don't forget, get your mandatory gift for Valentine's Day. No, I'm just kidding.
Like what?
Happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
We'll see you the day after.
Yeah, we'll see you the day after, talking about how I'm balancing love with personal goals and ambitions.
Balancing love with personal goals and ambitions.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have more fun.
An extension of personal growth, maybe.
Yeah.
Fun.
See you next time.
See you next time.